I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Josh Saunders. We are the PopCulturists, and we have been mucking around with Super Mario Odyssey, and we want to talk about it.
Sure have. Thanks to Nintendo Australia for providing us a code with the game, and yeah, you picked it up yourself, and we've been surprisingly going ham on it.
So for both of us, Super Mario Odyssey was the first 3D Mario title we've played. I know you dicked about with Mario 64 on an emulator. Not the way to play. Never do it again.
Because I just couldn't get a 64 at the time. It was like, you know. But anyway, like, yeah, so this is my first deep dive into a 3D Mario.
So, all right, where to even start? Because this is such a huge game.
Oh, let's kick it off roughly in terms of what the storyline is.
Okay.
This is stuff you'll get out of the first like little cutscene.
Okay, you won't believe it. Bowser has kidnapped Princess
It happens
Peach.
that often. It has its own name. It's been Pridnapped.
Peach napped.
So as always, Bowser has kidnapped Princess Peach, but this time it looks to be a little bit different as he plans to marry her.
He destroys your hat as well. That's
Yeah. So when you're on this giant floating boat, he then proceeds to fight you, punch your hat into the ground, whip you off the thing, and then run off with Peach.
So lucky for you, you land in Cap Kingdom where you meet Cappy.
Cappy's a little ghost with a top hat, who then captures your hat and becomes...
mimics your hat.
Mimics your hat and becomes your new little cool thing.
So bringing Cappy into this has just revolutionized the entire Mario series, because the amount of possibilities that Cappy gives you to do things in this game is fucking incredible.
Yeah, it's one of the first things, like, as a lot of what I'm going to say, I've probably said something similar in our previous discussions, whether it be at PAX, whether it be at EB Expo, whether it be my hands-on I had earlier in the year. There are a lot of things that I still hold, like, as in, like, my stance is still the same from what I've tried. An example with being Cappy. I think Cappy is oddly innovative.
Not even oddly, it just
I say oddly because we've known Mario to be so many things, like, you know, in previous games, like, they've given him like the Tanuki suit and like, where, you know, and things like that, and he's like the fireballs. Like, nothing has really been so simple as, oh, he wears a hat, let's fuck around with the hat, and like the hat becomes that new system, that new mechanic, and it's really interesting.
So what Cappy does is primarily it's a weapon and it's a jumping tool. So you can hit enemies with it, you can throw it in front of you and bounce off it for longer jumps. Now, where it really comes into it is the way he captures, keyword, captures various enemies in the game, which every kingdom has probably 2 or 3 enemies that you can capture, and each gives you different abilities. So for example, if you capture a Goomba and there are other Goombas nearby, you can stack them up.
Goomba stack.
It's part of the puzzling. There's certain things you can only get to if you have a certain height Goomba stack, and you can get yourself up there. Other worlds you can capture caterpillars, which you can plant your feet, extend out around corners, plant your front feet, and bring your body around there.
Or an example, you know, in the Luncheon Kingdom, you've got the fireballs, and that allows you to
swim through the lava.
Yeah, or you can jump on like the bullet bills.
Yeah. Yep. So every kingdom, I know you hate this word, but the mechanics in every kingdom.
I hate that word used incorrectly.
I know you hate it, but it is like everything in one kingdom is enough to really make a whole game out of and revolve the game around that one mechanic. And the fact that there is 40 plus different enemies you can capture to do different things, to solve different puzzles, is simply incredible.
Yes. Sorry, I have to clear my throat. It's really bad timing.
So with all of that and all the different captures you can do, different puzzles you can accomplish, really shouts out to how incredible level design is in this game. Yeah,
so this is... It's not like a single player story. Like, it is single player, but in the same way, it's not like, funny enough, we're wearing Horizon shirts, right? So it's not like
it's
Horizon.
Not open world, it's the sandbox.
Yeah, so it's not a big open world. It's small little levels that have reasons. Like, it's like faux open world. Yeah, it's like faux open world.
I think sandbox is the right.
Sandbox is probably the best example. As you go in, there is, you know, many different things you can do in this one world. There's like, you can go down and go up, and, you know, but it's all very tightly contained.
Yeah, and the thing is every time you go to a new kingdom, to collect more moons to power up the Odyssey to go to the next kingdom, that's the core thing of the game. Go to a kingdom, collect moons, power up your ship, so you can go to the next kingdom, get moons, and so you can keep traveling along. But when you zone into the world, it gives you like a quick pan around to the world, and you're like, oh, it doesn't look very big. They're fucking big. They are so densely packed with moons hidden in plain sight and moons where you would never even, like, you might accidentally find it because you fell off the cliff off the edge of the map and landed on a platform, and you're like, oh shit, there's a moon here. Yeah. Never would have found it. Like, it is so jam-packed. Like, every time you go travel back to a new world, not a new one, because if you're new, you're traveling to it for the first time. Every time you travel to a new kingdom, even if you've been there before, you'll walk out with some more stuff because you're always finding something. It's because it does such a good job of just drip feeding you really cool things. Now, what else you can collect is costumes. Costumes are awesome.
All right, so the point I was getting at with like with not being like a single player quote unquote, they like Mario games, they've always been collectathons, right? It's always how many coins you can get, how many moons you can get, how many stars you can get. And it's that with puzzles. So there's no like campaign quote unquote. Like the whole goal is get X amount of things to do this and to proceed to get more things. And costumes are part of that. I remember when I saw the trailer and I'm like, him in a sombrero, that's kind of a bit weird. But then like each individual kingdom does have its own like costumes in terms of its own style.
Multiple.
And early on kingdom, because we obviously don't want to get too deep, is like the cold sand world, right? Where in order to get a particular set of moons, like it's behind a locked door, and the guy's like, "Hey, you don't really look like you fit in here.
Yeah.
Don't can't come in." So you go, you get your sombrero, you get your poncho, and he's like, "Hey!" and lets you in, and then you get moons.
Yeah. So, what am I running around as? Samurai Mario. I am at the moment. Looks fucking rad, but it can't be stated.
A Mario with regular overalls but a backwards hat.
Ooh. It can't be stated enough how good the level design is. Like, it is. I've never seen level design like this before, where it seems so small, but it's so dense, and there's so many secrets, and every time you go back there's always something new. Now, the story is very bare bones. Bowser takes Peach, wants to marry her, you stop him. That's the story. The story is not where it ends, though. The story is about 8 hours.
Yeah. So the main
story is about 8 hours, but at that 8 hour point is where the post game opens, and that's where it's a real Mario game. That's where it opens up. That's when you go back to previous kingdoms, new moons have appeared, new areas have appeared you couldn't get to before, and it's like you're playing that whole level again for the first time.
Yeah, so what the game sort of does, which is this is quite good. So rather than sort of going, hey, while you're here, unlock everything and then you move on to the next one. Because I know with Mario 64 as an example, like it tells you need to get this many, and if you when you get it, it kicks you out. Like with this, it gives you the option. It goes, hey, in order to proceed to the next kingdom, you need at least 6, right, as an example.
Yeah.
And the way it's set up, it gives you, just by proceeding through the level to do the story, you pick up your 6.
Yeah,
Dead easy. Dead easy.
Yeah.
So the whole idea is, it is clearly just getting you running you through the steps to get you through to where you need to go.
Experiment in the level, see what the enemies do when they're captured, what you can do.
So it's giving you like a little bit of a taste of each one. Yeah. But at any point when you put the moons back into Odyssey, and then it goes, "Hey, ready to head on out?" I'm like, nah,
not yet.
And then because that first time you get in there, that first taste, it's structured in such a way to get just what you need, and then you're out. And then you go, nah, you turn around, and it's all brand new again.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like, I haven't seen a game like I'm in the post game now. I don't know, I've collected maybe.
I'm super close. I'm so close.
I think I've collected maybe 300 moons total, and I still go back to one of the first couple of kingdoms, and I'm still like, I didn't notice that before. And that brings me to there's one scene in New Donk City that, because what they haven't done is rely on nostalgia to an extent, as in you don't get all the old music and you don't get all this and that, but there are certain scenes where you go into the pipe and it becomes a 2D level.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh my God. And some of it is really challenging, some of it's really easy. Later game it's really challenging. But I found an area in New Donk City post game that choked me up. I'll tell you about it off camera because I don't want to spoil it, but there's a point that choked me up. And I was trying to take a video of it to like show you and Joel, but I couldn't do it. But and it was a 2D section of the game, and I was just like, this is just very, very few times a game will have me literally smiling ear to ear and going, this is fucking awesome. Or like, you know, how you get like the sobs of joy. Just like, I can't find it. I had that quite a few times in this game. Not only just in post game, but in the main game as well. I didn't expect it because I don't have that big tie to Mario that a lot of people. I played the 2Ds on the SNES, fucking loved them, finished them as a kid, but I dropped off like 20 years ago when it moved to 3D with 64, and I haven't played it since. So when it's like a new Mario game, I'm like, eh.
Well, I'm in the same boat as you, like, because I don't have that. I didn't grow. I grew up with Mario in terms of like the NES and the SNES.
Yeah.
But then that's when I jumped to PlayStation. I didn't have a 64, so and then I didn't get a GameCube, etc., etc. So for me, like coming in like not having that nostalgia is. I'd say I think it's kind of refreshing because I'm not going in with like
expectations,
rose-colored glasses.
Because we know Mario 64 and Galaxy and Sunshine are among the highest rated games ever.
Yes,
and there's a lot of expectation for Nintendo to try to keep and to try to hit that same mark again. So for us, because we didn't play them, it was like, let's see what this is all about. And we did. This game fucking rocks. I never expected a Mario game to make me laugh with joy and actually tear up in like just, I don't know, ecstasy, if you want.
It's funny. In the same way with Mario Kart, right? Loved it. And Odyssey is the exact same thing. I loved it. And I literally cannot find anywhere to fault it. Like,
I can.
Outside of like the little sprint thingy that I have an issue with, but
that's fine.
See, as I thought, the more you play it, the more you learn to adjust.
Yeah.
It's really jarring initially, but the more you play it, the more you start to understand it. But yeah, as in like I'm playing through it, I'm like, I'm genuinely having a good time. Like the game.
There are times where I've died, I'm like, fuck bullshit, and straight back in it.
Yeah.
Like I've never rage quit. Like put it down and gone, fuck this.
It baffles me that I can't find any reason to fault it.
Well, let's talk controls, because you mentioned you Mario.
Apart from motion controls, but
yeah, that's what I want to talk about.
You can turn it off, and
you can turn it off.
I play with a Pro controller.
Okay.
And the Pro controller has the accelerometers and whatnot in it, so I can just do simple flicks rather than having to worry about two hands. I go bing, 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 and it's just as natural.
Yeah. So Nintendo were really hard on motion controls. First thing you see when you load up the game is, hey, try it with two Joy-Cons. Here's a 1 minute ad, like a 1 minute screen saying, please try it with two Joy-Cons because that's how we want you to play. And I did. It was fun. It was cool. There are certain moves that you can do with the Joy-Cons that you can't do without them. The double up and double down, like the throw your hat upwards, and to buzzsaw it along the ground, you can't do without the Move controllers. But that doesn't stop you from doing anything in the game. Like I've played it in handheld, purely in handheld mode with the Joy-Cons attached, and there hasn't been a single point where I'm like, I can only do that with the Move controllers. It doesn't happen. Yeah. So they've done really well in making it so, yeah, they really, really want you to try two Joy-Cons. So I highly encourage you to do so. Just give it a go, because it is cool and it is responsive and you know, it's wicked and stuff. But they've made it work with multiple control schemes, and one doesn't really benefit over the other. It's rad. I can't fault it. I mean, yeah, I just didn't expect to get this kind of emotional response from a Mario game, because frankly I don't really care about Mario games, because I haven't played them, not because I hate them. But now that I've gotten into this one, I'm like, I can see why Mario has such an acclaimed name in the industry. Nintendo's always been accused of like just running off nostalgia, right? Which has
been my argument the longest time.
But every time they bring out a new game, they don't just hang off it, they revolutionize. Look at Breath of the Wild. Look at Breath of the Wild compared to previous
So I think we're at a point though, I think with the Switch they've switched their thought process. I did that on purpose. Yeah. Like I think they have generally switched up their thought process with how they tackle Zelda, with how they tackle Mario. Like now Mario, I don't think from my understanding is as revolutionary to the game as Breath of the Wild is, but I do certainly think they've kind of thought about it and they've pivoted in a better direction. So enough for me to go, as you said, I get it. I get why people love Mario, and
stop spitting on me. Fuck.
I can't help it because it's just so I get it. I understand it. It's coming together.
One more fault. Where the fuck's Luigi? Come on.
It's the expansion. Luigi, Super Luigi Odyssey.
Look, if there's one thing Nintendo...
There's Super Mario Odyssey and Luigi, and they're like...
in the small print.
Yeah.
If there's one thing Nintendo has always had for their first-party titles, it is legit polish. I haven't come
The
across.
game's stunning.
I haven't come across a bug. Like I haven't had it crash. I haven't fallen through the floor. I haven't had it stop responding. Like I haven't had an issue with something not working the way it should work. And that's what I've put in like 30 hours at this point. It's nearly unheard of these days. I played Horizon the Frozen Wilds. I had a few little glitches here and there. I'm like, oh, nothing game breaking, but a few little things I'm like, that shouldn't have happened. Never once in Mario Odyssey.
And it looks stunning. I've spent a lot of the time playing it in docked mode on my 4K TV, so like it looks schmick. And like in 720p, you notice it's not quite as smooth. The draw distance is noticeably less, but it's still stunning.
It's bright and it's vibrant and it's fun. And that's about all I have to say about it without getting into spoilers.
So if you were to narrow it down into one sentence, Joshua, what would you say?
The game that made me fall back in love with Mario.
Ooh.
What about you?
I simply cannot fault it.
Cool.
And we don't score games here. Scores aren't for us. No. So we will just simply say we cannot recommend this game enough. If you have a Nintendo Switch, you need to get this game. If you don't have a Nintendo Switch, do what our buddy Joel did and just go buy one. I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Josh Saunders.
And that was our review of Super Mario Odyssey on the Nintendo Switch. Wahoo.
2 thumbs up. Oh, you did not.
Totally did.